everybody. Glad to have you back with us today, whether you're listening via the radio, in your car, or at home, or maybe you're up in one of Elon Musk's rockets up there. Maybe someone's listening in up there. Let us know if the earth is flat or round, though, if you're out there. We need to know. And Doc, we've got our book here. Last week we started this series. We're going to go through some Bible prophecy terminology. And I'm Brother Goodwin. Doc is here with me. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can see us. And we are a sight to see, boy, ain't we? And anyway, we've got a book that Doc and I did together. What's the date on this book, Doc? Let's see. Copyright.
A little over
23.
a year ago.
So it's been over a year, probably a year and a half or so. Bible prophecy terminology. And I don't know how many terms we put in. 2 pages in the table of contents, all in alphabetical order, starting with the abomination of desolation, which we did last week. Mm-hmm. We're not going to go in order, of course, and no way we could do all of these. I thought we would just pick a few for a few weeks here,
right,
and discuss them. So the second topic that I chose is Ezekiel's bones, because we're saying that all the time. We talk
vision
about
of valley of dry bones.
Yep. Of course, Ezekiel chapter 37 is what I put in the book here. This happened to be one of the chapters that I wrote in the book. And Ezekiel speaks of the restoration of Israel to its national statehood. Mm-hmm. The story is self-explanatory in the text below. And I've got Ezekiel 37, verses 3 through 7. Let me just read some of this. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. That's a good answer, by the way. I don't know, Lord.
When you don't
tell
know,
me.
that's what you say, yeah.
Yeah. Can these bones live again? And he said, Thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into thee, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I prophesied there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And
skeleton coming together.
And you can picture this in your mind. Yeah. And all these bones on the ground, all of a sudden they come together, and the ankle bone joins the leg bone, the head gets on, and they stand up on their feet. Yeah. And you know, all kinds of things come to your mind when you're thinking of this here. But an important fact I wrote to point out here is that Ezekiel was a prophet to Israel before and during the Babylonian captivity,
that's right,
which was when Israel lost its statehood. And God is letting Ezekiel know, so that Ezekiel can let us know he's not done with Israel.
That there's a time in the future when Israel will be back in her land again, because whatever God started with Israel in prophecy, he will fulfill with Israel in prophecy.
Now let's make sure that we make something clear here. 70 years later, Cyrus is going to give them their land back, going to help them with the temple.
Right.
Nehemiah is going to build the walls, Ezra the temple. That's not the fulfillment of this, though, is it?
No.
Even though they're back in their land.
That's a shadow of it, but it's not what this prophecy was about.
Because they're still not sovereign,
because we call it chapter 37, but when Ezekiel's writing, there was no chapter 36 and chapter 37. So they go together. In what we call chapter 36, he talks about a time whenever God is going to scatter all of the Jews into the 4 winds of the world. And he's going to regather them back at a time in the future from all those 4 corners of the world. That was not fulfilled after the Babylonian conquest. So this was future. It's been, I think, fulfilled and still being fulfilled, because Jews are still filtering Alia. They're still coming back into their homeland.
Plus the fact that, yes, he allowed them back in their land. They built the temple and all that. But they're still wards of the state. They're still under Persia, the Persian Empire. And
even Israel today, back in its own statehood in that sense, still is still underneath Gentile rule to a great extent.
Financially.
At the present, even in the war that's taking place there in the Middle East, whatever America says you can or cannot do is about what they do.
Yeah.
And but the Valley of Dry Bones is a picture of Israel being scattered all over the world. That wasn't the case in the Babylonian captivity. But after the 70 A.D., at the destruction of the temple, and then 135 A.D., the final destruction of the Jews, they were literally scattered throughout all the world.
Yeah.
And so this is a picture of the Jews being scattered all over the world. And there's going to come a time, and already to us it's happened, I'm convinced, whenever they're going to be brought back together. And, of course, the next phase of it is there will become flesh upon those bones. And then there'll become a spirit within them. He's going to give them a new heart.
And that's not come
That's
yet.
not fulfilled yet.
That's going to happen during the tribulation.
The flesh is on the bones in the fact that, whether you say it was, we talk about the fig tree prophecy, tying this all together, putting the two pictures together, and he said not only the fig tree, but all the trees. So all the kingdoms that revolve around Israel. When did all of that start? In my mind, it started with the Balfour Declaration at the end of World War I. That's when the Jews began gathering back into their land. Then in 1948, they declared themselves a state nation again amongst the nations of the world.
Well, let me read a statement here that I made in the book. No other nation in the history of the world has ever ceased to exist, and then many years later recovered their statehood.
1900 years or so later, amazing. Of course, so many prophecies. A language that had been dead for 1900 years is now spoken again. All but two cities that have been unearthed and rebuilt in Israel have been given their original biblical names, except for two cities, and Jesus pronounced a curse on those two cities, and that's why. You cannot help but understand that the majority, or at least the first two phases, have been fulfilled in the dry bones prophecy in Daniel 37, Ezekiel 37.
God's orchestration of Israel's statehood. Great Britain began the process for restoration of Israel with the Balfour Agreement, you just mentioned, 1917. The United Nations and Britain deeded the land to Israel, of Israel, to the Jews on May 14th, 1948. That's an important day.
Very important.
David Ben-Gurion read the Israel Declaration of Independence, which declared Israel to be an independent state. That seems to be a fulfillment of these.
It does.
At least the first part of it, the half of it.
I think that's when the flesh came upon them, because the bones had already gathered together.
That same day, and I've got something interesting to tell you about this. I don't know if I'll do it on the air or not. I got something out in my truck that's very interesting. I got a picture of Harry S. Truman's house, and it's signed. It may be from him. Harry S. Truman is the guy who acknowledged Israel
even
as their right to exist.
Even against most of his cabinets.
He took over when FDR died. FDR was not a lover of the Jews. I don't know if you remember the name of the ship. I can't remember. That came up off the floor of Florida in the 40s during the war. And they wanted asylum here, the Jews.
And they wouldn't give it to them.
FDR turned them away. They went back to Europe. And it's believed most of those Jews died.
Perished, yes.
Yeah, very sad. Our country has some bad history, too, as well as some good history. An unknown character here, Truman. God used that man. Now, did God take FDR out of the way? We'll find out when we get to heaven. It sure appears like God took him out of the way at the right time, brought in the man that he wanted that was going to help Israel get back in their land.
Exactly. That's what happened.
So this Declaration of Independence was declared Israel to be an independent state the same day the United States, which was Harry S. Truman, it recognized Israel as an independent and sovereign nation. I'm very excited about that. That picture, it's in a frame. I haven't really studied it out yet. It may be something that I may want to hang on my wall. Israel obtained Jerusalem in 1967, which I think is another important.
That's very important.
After the miraculous Six-Day War, I lean towards this event as the fig tree buddeth fulfillment. This is just me. I'm not saying anyone has to agree with me. I have said this for years. I believe the fig tree took root in 48. I think it budded in 67, but that's just speculating. I mean, both events. I mean, what's Israel without Jerusalem? I mean, what? Jerusalem's the holy city. Jerusalem's the place that matters.
Of course, there's prophecy that Jerusalem would be once again the capital, and it's now the capital.
Yeah, so boy, the clock does not do anything for us. But there's a lot of numerology involved here that we won't have time to get into. The 2520 date is a very important date in the Bible. I don't mean a date, but I mean a number. Well, there are 2,520 years approximately from the captivity in Babylon to 1948, which is very interesting.
1948 is a unique year, and the fact is that also is a date that goes with Abraham. 1948.
Could it be the bones gathered in 48 and the flesh came in 67?
I tend to think that the bones gathered in 17 or 18 with Balfour Declaration, because the Luke's account of the fig tree not only says the fig tree, but all the trees. And so all of the nations that border Israel came into existence with each other as a result of that Transjordan compact that was over there. But they all came into their identity and geography as we know them today in an 8-year period of time, all of them, Israel as well as all of those others that border them.
I wrote here, Israel is ready to build the temple.
Oh, yes.
For decades, the Jewish people have been preparing to rebuild the temple, from archaeology, architectural plans and materials to furnishings and sacrificial artifacts. Everything needed for rebuilding the temple is ready.
It's ready to go.
Exactly to biblical specs as governed by the Temple Institute in Jerusalem. The only thing standing in the way is the dispute over being able to do it and where to put it. And I think Donald Trump is the answer to that. I think he is the King Cyrus of this last days.
It is very possible, and I know all the other roads of prophecy would indicate we're that close for that to happen. Yeah.
Well, Doc, I know you got a cough, so I'll shut us down here. You know, you're barely making it with your cough there, but folks, if we are that close, are you ready? 3 things needed to be rapture ready, as I call it. Number 1, you better be saved. You got to be saved to go in the rapture. Lost people don't go in the rapture. Lost people are left behind. Number 2, to be rapture ready, yes, you'll go in the rapture if you're saved, but if you're not right with God, you may be ashamed when you see him, when you look him in the eye. So be right with God. That's number 2. Number 3, be ready. Be ready to go now. Get your friends and loved ones ready. All right, are you rapture ready? If you need any help with that, contact us. We'd love to send you something or talk to you on the phone and help you be rapture ready. Until next time, keep your eyes on them skies.